Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Slip Joint Sawyer here, and today we've got another episode for you of the Slippy and Thrifty show. So, welcome, John. How are you doing?
Doing great.
Awesome stuff. So today we're going to be taking a quick look at the new sort of lineup of RoseCraft blades. They have posted this on their social media on Instagram. Not sort of able to find it on their website. I don't know if that's just me or they've not put it up there yet. Just straight off the bat, I will say we're not going to talk about the Zambezi because it's been out for a little while. I mainly want to focus on the new knives they got coming out. So we'll be starting at the Beaver Creek Barlow, which is the number 6. And straight off the bat, I will say it's pretty much a traditional Barlow pattern. It has that 1/3 sort of bolster with like the sort of the swell end, rounded end. But I will say the blade is quite interesting. You can tell it's definitely an Andy blade. It's got its signature sort of swedge on there, but I'm undecided whether it's a coping blade or a ram's foot. Any opinions from you, TK?
About the beaver crack? Yeah, it's
about
just,
the beaver crack.
Yeah, the blade shape. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's a sheep's foot because
Yeah,
that's typically what you're going to get on a Barlow.
yeah,
I know it probably looks a little more like a coping blade with the flat angle, but with the swedge, it kind of does protrude a little more like a ram's foot. So
yeah, it does. But then again, not something I would just sort of dislike on a Barlow. Would I have liked a spear? Yeah, but he's obviously trying to do something a bit different, isn't he? So we'll go with that. I also really like the bone. Are we calling that sort of like, is it like amber bone, or is it like that, what they call it, whiskey bone, that sort of color?
yeah, it's sort of like a dark tobacco bone or a
Yeah,
whiskey bone. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It looks really well done. I mean, the Rosecraft blade knives I've got so far have been really well made. These ones are still China made, I believe, but it doesn't really bother me at all
Yeah.
as long as the fit and finish is there for what you're paying, and it's D2 steel still. So for me, D2 steel on a traditional knife is just a win all day long. A steel that lasts ages and you can cut for ages and ages with it on a pattern that looks great. I'll take it any day of the week.
Now, I like what they've done with the RC there. If you go back and look at their Barlows from the old days, whether it be Robeson or whatever, they all had a pretty prominent mark on the bolster. And I think that's
Yeah,
pretty classy shape for the RC on there. They did a good
yeah,
job of
like it's got
imitating
that.
an older style.
Yeah, it's got the intertwined R&C, so you can see it goes through at the top and then underneath at the bottom. It sort of adds to the bolster to have a nice little, not sort of decoration, but just like a little design on there because it is quite a big Barlow, and sometimes the big plain Barlows are a bit like the bolsters are a bit much. But it
Yeah.
does sort of remind me as well of the, is it the number 14 Tom's Choice GEC? Because they do have the TC on the Barlow, so it's sort of taken inspiration from that as well.
Right.
But
And I like that they
like,
didn't try to then throw on a shield on top of that. I think that would have been a
yeah,
mistake.
correct. Yeah, they've stuck with their sort of lettering rather than having that rosebud shield on there as well. Because I think with a shield, it would have taken up too much room and there'd have been not much bone to look at. I think that is, you're correct. That is one of the best things about it is they sort of dropped the shield
Right.
in exchange for that sort of lettering. But this is going to be sort of a main one for me to get. I know you're also the same sort of thing. It's a no sort of no brainer. As soon as
Yeah, I
it's
mean
available,
that's a
I'm
knife I
chucking my
might
money
even
at
buy
it.
multiples of. I mean, that's how much I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, it's really nice. I'm hoping these ones as well. Then maybe they might do different handle materials as well or different colors. That would be nice. I know they haven't done that as of yet, but I can imagine that, especially the Barlow ones, they would sell like hotcakes if they had different. If they had like a wood, like a Mike Carter version, maybe
Yeah.
like a Duke's bone as well, they would fly off.
I can't
So
imagine they won't put multiple handle materials just because of the cost of doing the production. If you want to try to extend the line, you would definitely just put throw another handle on there and sell it as new.
definitely,
Right? I mean, that's
especially
just
as you're not having to create a new sort of frame to put the handle
yeah,
material on. It's already a pre-existing thing. You just got to do the scale and chuck it on. That would
yeah,
be a no-brainer for me.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I love that one.
Not
That
that
was
there's anything wrong with this handle. I like that a lot. But I mean,
no,
like
no,
you
no.
say,
I'm all for the bone, but
yeah,
yeah, we know we all like variety.
yeah.
So the French broadjack, very sort of reminiscent of um, what was it we were talking about this one earlier?
The quail cliff or the quill cliff.
That's the
Yeah,
one. That's the
yeah.
one. Very reminiscent of that. Not sure. I'm thinking it's going to have like a 3-inch blade as well. I don't think it's going to be as small,
Yeah.
but again, does it have the signature swedge? I don't know why I'm mentioning that. They're going to be on all of them pretty much.
Right.
But again, it seems really well made. The only thing I will notice about it is that nail nick on it looks very small. And for the pull he's had on all his knives so far, bar the surgeon's knife, I think it might struggle to open that unless you can pinch it. I don't know about
Well,
you.
I think with the shape of it, you will have some, some body to hold on to.
Yeah,
Um,
especially like at the butt end of the knife.
yeah, the thing that's a little awkward to me is the squared off end there. I'm
Yeah,
not sure. I think I would probably have preferred a rounder end on it,
yeah,
more like the
especially as
pearl
the
clutch.
front of the knife as well has got a nice sort of curved round bit.
Mm.
But then the butt end, they just kind of like drawn a straight line and gone, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'd kind of be curious to see what this looks like closed and have a better option
Mm,
to look at that.
yeah,
But I think that's going to be one of the things I look at when they actually do introduce
yeah,
it. Is a couple of the other photos to get a better look at that.
yeah, just to see what it's like, what it's like at the half stop. Does it go all the way in? Those
Hmm.
sorts of things. Like, have you got plenty of room to pinch it open? But again, really really attractive sort of bone coloring. It's like like a deep red. Does look like there's sort of like like color changes in it where you can see it's lighter in places and darker in others.
Right.
Back to the rose blood shield as well, but I would like to see that color actually on the Barlow. I think that would be great on there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. More of a burgundy color.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And we've got the Riverbend Skinner. So this is just, to me, it just seems to be a larger version of the mini Riverbend Skinner. Pretty self-explanatory why that is. Um, I have the mini Riverbend, so I probably wouldn't be looking to get this one straight away. Maybe in the future, but for me, it's sort of not necessary. Um, One thing I don't like about it is the lanyard hole on the back. I don't. I've completely gone off lanyards recently. I don't know what it is, but all my knives I've just completely got rid of lanyards. They do my head in. But well, how do you feel about the lanyard hole, TK? Is it for you?
I mean, that on a knife, that side doesn't bother me as much. The lanyard hole. Also,
Mm,
to me, it's the repetitiveness of the Rough Rider reserve or the Rough Rider release that he already did.
mm.
The trappers that he already
Yeah,
did.
just called the upswept trapper, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah,
It's pretty much the same knife.
the bow trappers that he already did.
Mm,
The shape of the handle is a little different. It's got a little bit of a squared off end. I think I remember whenever he introduced this, he was talking with Big Red and said it had to do with the way that the handle would fit your hand during certain types of cuts or a push cut or something like that, which
yeah,
to me wasn't enough to realize a shape change just to do it all over again. But
no,
if you look at the modeling number on the first one, it is at RCT 001, which to me tells me he just kind of took that design, and tweaked it just slightly and then just re-released it to have something out, I think, in the
yeah.
beginning.
For me,
So
I would have just left it at 9 knives rather than the 10 and just forgotten
yeah,
about that one.
to me, it's just kind of a leftover that he decided to reintroduce. So the excitement for that one is a little less for me, but it's
Yeah,
still a beautiful knife.
same with
Don't get
me.
me wrong. I
Yeah,
think
it looks
it's already
really
been
well
done.
made. The sort of the silver nickel silver shield on the black is, it does make it pop. Like
Hmm.
it's one of those things that it does look really good on it. But the next one, I know we are both dying to have. Yeah, the RCT 009.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
give me your
easily
thoughts.
my favorite of the bunch, easily.
Yeah, 100%. It just screams like an old English Jack or an old English Barlow. It has that exact shape. Yeah, it doesn't have the elongated bolster, not the end of the world, but it does have jig bone. That's what we've been crying out for ages. Especially with the Rough Rider Reserve line as well. Everyone's dying for some jig bone, and we're getting on the RoseCraft blades now, which is great.
Yeah.
I can't think of any knife on this lineup, or well, any knife at the moment I want more than that currently.
Again, that'd probably be a knife that I buy multiple of.
Yeah,
I just like it that much. So between those two Barlows, essentially, to me, he finally kind of delivered on what it is that I knew he was capable of, and
yeah,
this is the first time I'm kind of realizing the efforts of his work in such a positive way to this degree. So I'm going to say
definitely.
that that's probably the best thing that he's made personally that I've seen.
Mm.
Um, I like that he's kind of stuck with this theme of naming the knives after like water areas in Tennessee or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Either rivers or creeks or whatever. But um, just a really interesting handle kind of etching, or I don't know what you'd call that, even jigging of some kind.
Yeah, it looks like sort of like a shallow. I would call it like milling, wouldn't you? Like it's not. I wouldn't go as far as saying it's jigged, but
Yeah,
it's
jigging's
like
probably not the
worked, isn't
right
it?
word. But
Worked
whatever.
handles or what you call
Yeah,
it.
the worked handle, we'll call it that. That's a good way of putting
Yeah.
it. And just the way they've integrated it in, and I like that it also has a little bit of that color transition at the front, just to give you a hint
Yeah.
of something a
Yeah.
little different, and then you can see it kind of around the edges. It's a little different
Mm.
color too.
But it
So
looks like
that,
it provides like a really good grip as well, because obviously they got the little grooves. It's going to make it even like it's
yes,
going to stay in your hand
yes,
nicely.
that's a
The
good point.
blade shape, the
Hmm.
blade shape, you can't go wrong with a clip blade, especially
Now,
like a
if I
classic
was going to
design clip
nitpick
blade.
this one just slightly, I would have liked there to be a little more of a dip into the clip portion of the blade, make it a little more like an English Barlow. He
Yeah.
could have left
Yeah.
the swedge on there, but just maybe changed the flat line where it
Mm.
has a little bit more of a bow to it, if you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
that's a
So
nitpick. I mean,
right where it drops off the sort of the long pull, you could have
yeah,
just
make it more
arched it out a
arched,
bit.
made it a
Yeah.
little more
Yeah.
arched. Yeah, but
But
other than
something
that, I
else we
mean,
haven't mentioned as well is actually the long pull on the Barlow. So it's
yeah,
sort of like it's a modern take, isn't it? Which is nice. I do like the long pull. I
hmm
do feel it's cleaner than a nail neck. Not a massive fan of
yeah,
nail necks. Like I understand their purpose. I use them all the time. But
yeah,
the long pulls for me, it just seems. I always feel like it makes the knife pinchable open. I feel like that's what its purpose is, rather than just being for a nail.
right.
Like
Yeah, you
that
have to
little
be a
bit
little more
extra to sort of
precise
grab
in
on
the
a
way that
blade.
you open it with just the nail
Yeah,
nick. Where, yeah,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah, and then RCT 010, the I'm gonna butcher that. Ocoee River Kayak.
yeah, a Koei River kayak.
Uh, off the bat, I'm just gonna say it's a no from me. I
Yeah, I understand what he's trying to do here. It's kind of a take on the
Yeah,
kayak that he already made with just a single blade, with the
mm,
very unusual blade shape. If you go back and you look at the kayak,
yeah.
the Rough Rider Reserve kayak, it has
What I
some
will
really.
say, it would have been a hell of a lot better if there wasn't a downward angle on the blade. If it had come out straight like a modified spear blade, would have
Hmm.
considered it. But I don't like the extreme sort of downward angle on blades.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that blade. It's just it's kind of weird. The swedging is weird. It's at the top instead of the lower portion of it. Where towards the tip.
Yeah.
It's just an awkward shaped blade. I mean, I look at that blade and I go, well, he couldn't have put the swedge towards the end because then it would interfere with the nail nick. It's almost
Mm,
like, oh, well, I've got to put it on there somewhere. So let's just stick it
yeah.
up here. It's
Yeah.
just like you can't get away from the swedging, so we've got to get it somewhere, and that's the best place for it. So we'll put it there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Another
I
thing
don't
as well,
the downward
just
angle of the
reference from the
blade
picture.
a
Yeah.
little
Go
weird.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just that's all.
Yeah. So what I'm just like sort of realizing with the picture, like they're obviously all on there to scale in relation to each other. That kayak at the bottom, it looks smaller than the Zambezi at the top, and the Zambezi is not a big knife.
Yeah, that's a good point. Plus, it has that lanyard hole, and I really don't think you need it on this particular knife.
No, no. I feel this one's going to be it's going to be like a 2 inch blade, isn't it? And I just feel that like I haven't got massive hands, I got like medium hands, but I just think I'm all for the small knives, but I think a small knife with a strong pull like that's going to be really hard to manage.
Yeah. I think I'll give the one positive thing. I think with the blade closed, just looking at them, that's going to be covered up by that bolster. That will be a smooth transition to your pocket, I bet.
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah, it'd be
some of
like a
these
copperhead
others,
on tip of a bar
without
or a canoe.
without seeing them closed on the others, I can't say that about these. So, well, the Zambezi, I suppose, but the others, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that'll be one positive from that, but still.
Beautiful color
But
handle. I like that.
yeah, I do like the smaller shield on it as well. I feel they should have used that size shield on the French broadjack.
Yeah, interesting point.
Yeah, because
Very narrow there, so you would think they maybe would have used something smaller.
yeah, I get why they're using it, but
Hmm.
either stick to one size or but that a small knife you could have put the biggest shield on there and it would have fitted fine. But I do
Right.
think the French broadjack could have benefited from that smaller shield.
Yeah, but
So
at this point we're kind of nitpicking, and all things considered, I think he's done a great job of all. When you look at all of them as a
100%,
whole,
100%. He's made
you're
some
not going to
fantastic
find
knives
knives of this quality anywhere that
for the
I know of
price.
for the price. I mean, just not.
No, definitely not. And even, like for me in the UK, I can get them sent over for, I think I pay like maybe $15 on top for postage, and it's still a bargain. It's still a great price for these knives. I'm
Yeah,
happy to pay the delivery for to get something this quality. Again, D2 steel on a traditional pan, can't beat it.
yeah. Shout out to Blue Creek Knives for letting the UK
100%.
buyers
Great
get a hold of
company.
these, because
Brian, Brian at Blue Creek is a fantastic guy.
you can't go direct to RoseCraft, right, to get them.
No, I
Yeah,
did
so
message them to start with, and I think it was Andy that replied to me and said, "Oh, we don't currently ship, but Blue Creek is our supplier that will ship." So
yeah,
he sort of directed me to him, and then Brian at Blue Creek. I mean, I bought two of them off him, and I had a mystery box of one of them in. Every time, fantastic service. He's just a really nice guy to deal with. He just replies to you, like, even if he doesn't get back to you quickly, he will reply to you. So
okay.
obviously, reach out to him, and he's a great guy.
So there you go, Blue Creek. There's a little
Little
shout out
plug
to you
for you.
guys for sure.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, I just have to say, the Barlows are going to be my favorites. I do like the French Broad Jack more than the Quill Cliff. I think it's a better design overall.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it
I
looks like a nice size as well, like a decent sort of three. We're always looking at
three and
like
a
three and a
quarter,
bit.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
But I
that's
mean,
all
you
we
look at
got
the
for you this time,
Barlow.
guys.
That's those are generally 3 1/4, 3 3/8, something like that.
Yeah.
So pretty
Yeah.
close to that, I think.
Yeah. A nice size, nice manageable size. Not going to be too small in the hand, unlike that kayak, which I'm pretty sure is going to be too small.
Yeah, just overall shape of it, just not my thing, and then along with the blade, which I think is just kind of odd looking. So that just not my favorite, but
Yeah. I agree with you.
be interesting to see what the community as a whole thinks of it.
Yeah.
But
There will be people that buy it. Some people will like the shape. It's just not for us.
yep. All right. Anything else?
I think that's all my thoughts on that. Anything from you?
That's it. We'll see you next
See
time, guys.
you next time, guys. Peace out.